Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, welcome to Talking in Ovals. How's everybody doing out there on this Monday, July 8th, 2024? Episode number 96 as we inch closer to episode 100, and then even after that, our 2-year episode. We're coming up quickly on that. Dave, what's up, brother?
Do you remember when we first started this podcast journey? One of the pet peeves that we had was that the 800-meter worldwide was not where we were used to having it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have that problem anymore. Can you imagine running 142 and not getting top 3 in a meet?
Could you imagine having 3 guys knocking on the world record door in one race?
We now have four of the top 9 times ever have been run in the last 3 weeks.
But also, kudos to Wilson Kipketer for still being number 2 after such a great race. I mean, it's fantastic. So that was awesome. Oh, so I wanted I saw something quickly while I was looking at X, and people are taking who's the not Kirsten Warholm, who's Van Niekerk? I can't say his name.
Van Niekerk.
People were saying that they would take Van Niekerk in a 600 over David Rudisha. That's insane. All right, just want to get that out there. I want to make sure we were on board here. That is just.
I would take nobody over Rudisha in anything over 500 meters.
I probably would agree with that because I think he is just incredibly fast, and he could probably drop a fast 4 for it. But not even he's a 44-second 400 guy, no problem. I think
you run a 140 in the 800, you're dropping a fast 4.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get into the fun stuff.
Yeah. Man.
So if you like what you hear today, like, share, follow, subscribe, 5 stars. Go find us on Talking in Ovals. Just go search that. We're the only ones around. We need to get our logo little thing trademarked. We need to make sure that no one else can steal that because we're established now, man. 96 episodes. This is awesome. So before we get into our guests and things like that, still have to give a shout out our buddy Adam Nalvin. Adam, if this is old, let me know because I don't know if early registration is still going on. But according to this show, it is, damn it. So early registration going on, 3rd annual River Rock and Run 5K. It's Saturday, November 16th. New 5K course. You could do solo. You could do teams of 1.5 miles each with a baton handoff, which is pretty cool. You don't hand off batons in 5Ks very often, or run with the baton. Best really good post-race food. Get some beer, and 100% of the proceeds go to Monmouth and Ocean County food banks. Right in time for Thanksgiving to help families at need. So not only are you running a 5K, you're going to do a fun one. Good food, good drinks. Good cause. So definitely go out there and go do that. And last week's show, we had a really fun one.
Yes.
We talked to Chris Marco, an alumni of your alma mater high school, Toms River South, and it was just lots of fun.
And he also went to Notre Dame, which kind of ties into this week.
Ties in today. Yes, it certainly does. But, we had a great time. You guys got to walk down memory road, talk about a lot of things from your generation to his in terms of South and talking about coaches and stuff. So it was a great time. Lots of fun just talking to him. He's an incredibly accomplished person and going to be is a fantastic coach.
Oh, yeah.
Will be a legendary one at some point. So go back, listen to that episode. But this week, we're going to bring him in before I have one PR. But we are going to bring him in. He is our guest for this week, and we're excited because he is a huge guest for us. And we've had big guests, and I'm freaking stoked about this one. But he is Drew Griffith. He is a outgoing Butler High School alum in Pennsylvania, and he is an incoming freshman at Notre Dame, a brand new Fighting Irish. What is going on, man?
Nothing much. I'm excited to be on the podcast.
We're pumped to have you on. Again, thank you to Phil Grove. Phil Grove is the man, the myth, the legend for connecting us. He's gotten us some fantastic people to come and jump on the show, and we're forever grateful to him. And, he's just a good guy all around. But I want to jump in and, something that you might not know, that we like to shout out PRs whenever people send them to us, PRs, PBs, whatever you want to call them. So when you're eventually at Notre Dame, just kicking the ever-loving hell out of the 15 and whatever you run, we want to get those PRs so we could give them shout outs. We want to keep that connection. But we have a former guest of the show and a Masters runner, Kirk Berridge. He got 2 PRs in one meet over at Dallas recently. He dropped his 100 from 13.69 last season to 12.77 this season.
Wow.
So, dropping it down there. And then his 200 dropped down from a 27.63 to a 26.13. So congrats to Kirk. Awesome job. Trackstar.me. Go check it out. That is, YouTube, social media for track people. Go put your videos up there, your PRs. It is an absolute blast to go on there. But Drew, we want to get into you.
Yes.
The show is all about you. And if anyone who's a running fan that's here, especially a distance fan, they know who you are, but they might not know fully about you, right? So we're going to ask you the same question we ask every single guest that has basically been on the show. What was the spark for you that it clicked all of a sudden that you were going to be a runner, that this is the thing that you wanted to do? Because we all had that moment where it was like, maybe we want to do this there, and it's like, I'm really good at running. I think I'm just going to stick with that. So what was that time for you? What was that spark?
Yeah, so it was probably freshman year track season. I wasn't the best runner. I was still a pretty big swimmer, so I feel like that was like a huge part of my life still. But still went out for the track team, and one day we had a weekend workout. It was on a Saturday, and I got there, and there was only 2 other kids there, and the one kid was like the fastest kid on our team at the time, and it was mile repeat, so I was running like 5:30s or something, and then this kid on my team was running like 4:20. Like after 4:20 on the windiest day, it's like super cold, no one's showing up, and honestly, like I feel like that was kind of like a spark, like just seeing like wow, this kid's pretty crazy, and like I kind of want to like live up to that one day. So I feel like that was like the one day that I truly like realized I wanted to like keep running, and then after that I just started working hard that track season, and I got my like 2 mile PR down to like 10:18. So after that, summer training, and yeah, I'm here today.
I think that's kind of awesome too. Like, you might not look at it, but a freshman walking in and just doing, summer training, just running mile repeats at 5:30, like that doesn't happen with a freshman. That's not like, obviously you run before, but 5:30 for a freshman walking in summer training is, badass. Like, that's solid.
We're not talking to your average runner here.
No, that is very true. We are not talking to average runner, but like that's a cool spark too. It's like seeing, and that's a little different than what we heard, right? You're like seeing what you can be, and your kid running 4:20 is no slouch at all, talented runner. So it's like you see that, and it's like I want to be that, and that's a pretty dope spark. Just having that drive. Yeah. Has that always been you? Have you been a competitive person where like you see where someone can be and you want to get there? Yeah,
definitely. Even like not even just running, it's just like everything I've ever done, I feel like I'm just trying to like be as competitive as possible.
So was that freshman year, your last year doing swimming? Was it all winter track from?
So I still did swimming my sophomore year, but that was when I kind of realized like this is not going to work out. Like I can't balance running and swimming. Like I would go to practice after school and then get home and be running like 6 miles in the like it was super dark out, and it's like 7 o'clock, and I'm like, I just got to get some sleep. And then on top of that, school. So it was definitely like that part was tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only, we've all been there with all the athletics and stuff, and it's like, but we do have that moment. I actually never had that moment. Dave laments me for that, but we all have that moment where it's like, you gotta learn to sacrifice, and it's tough, right? Because you obviously love swimming, and it was something you enjoyed being in the pool, but there's 2 different types of shape, right? And I've seen it a lot just from coaching. Dave, you've probably seen it from coaching, where there's a lot of swimmers that they might be endurance swimmers. They might be like 800 guys and stuff like that. But it's like, it's a different type of shape, right? To be a good runner and a good swimmer. One is more full body. The other one is much more like lower body intensive. So how much did that like wear on you just, for swimming, having to go out and run, afterwards and things like that?
Yeah, it was super tough. Just like, the whole body was tired. I mean, especially the legs. And I think I even got like a little bit of an injury that season just because I was trying to stretch myself too thin. So, I mean, I definitely encourage like trying to do 2 sports at once, but whenever it's like back to back like that, it's pretty tough.
Oh, absolutely.
So now what we want to do, now that we got your spark, I want you to give us some of your favorite memories from your career. Starting out, like, when you started running, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like high school. Like, did you run in middle school and things like that?
Yeah, I ran, so like seventh grade, I ran both cross country and track, and then eighth grade, I ran cross country, but it was a little bit of a rough season with some injuries, and then track was COVID for eighth grade. So
it sucks. Oh man.
Yeah.
I always forget that, like, when we talk to the high schoolers and stuff, like you guys lived through COVID, and being an adult, like, we just kind of toughed through it. But like, so what was that like for you mentally? Like, as you were an eighth grader, you're a big dog as an eighth grader. Like, there's expectations there. You were probably like looking forward to so many things that you wanted to accomplish, because like that's the pinnacle of middle school. Like, you're the king of the crop in middle school. So what was that like, dealing with the fact that you weren't going to be able to like fulfill the things that you wanted to fulfill?
Yeah, it was definitely really tough, just because, like, I don't know.
13,
like
12 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I had a rough like eighth grade cross country year, so I was like looking forward to track and being like let's get after this. Let's see what I can do. Maybe redeem myself a little, but then kind of got shut down, and then. Really, once you're like just sitting at home and just playing video games, it's really tough to get some motivation to go out and run. So, like, it's definitely rough. Let's see what I can do. Maybe.
Yeah,
I could absolutely only imagine just how absolutely rough that would be on you, just like mentally and physically too. Like, yeah, video games. So it's actually crazy, like where you come, right, and we're your whole generation. Like, you guys are running so damn fast, and I absolutely forget that you guys basically took almost 2 seasons off, more than that, almost 2 years off. Like. So you're getting in there, you're a freshman. How much did you lean? Like you said, there were 2 other kids there, and that makes sense, right? Everyone was probably still scared to hell about catching COVID and things like that. What was that like? Did you have to rely a lot on your seniors, on your juniors to kind of get you guys going that freshman year, kind of leaning out of COVID and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like that junior class, my freshman year, and then like they were seniors my sophomore year, but that class was just so stacked, and they, I think we had like numerous D1 commits for track and field. So it was just like, they were like our leaders, and it was pretty important for us to just like see what they could do on the track and see their success to kind of get us like going again. Cause it's like, really nobody has any motivation to do like anything. You're coming off of just laying in bed all day. So yeah, it was definitely super important.
Yeah, I find that to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So at what point did you start to realize that you were not only good for the state of Pennsylvania, but you were good on that national level? Like, when was the moment where you realized that your running was taking a step up?
Probably junior year cross country, whenever I raced at like the national, or not even the national meet, but just like the regional meet. I ended up winning that race, and that was when I was just like wow, like this is the entire Northeast, and I just ran pretty well against everyone. So I think that was like really the moment I realized that I could be kind of like a threat at those national meets.
I mean, that's got to be like a crazy realization, right? Because like I remember just like even when I was in high school in the Stone Ages, we were able to like sit there and still track like something's going on, and you saw your crazy national phenoms, and it was like, oh sweet, I'm just here doing my thing, and I'm going to enjoy them, and maybe one day I'll blossom in college and I'll get good and maybe compete, right? That would be nice. But like, what was it like kind of sitting there and looking around and like, wait, I'm that kid. Like I'm that kid that people are like looking at on social media, and people are watching like, oh, that's me on Flow Track. Holy shit. Like, what was that? What were those like, did you ever have like any pinch me moments when like you're kind of looking at yourself racing or yourself like doing like your 1K repeats and stuff like that? Like, that's a legendary workout now that like people will refer to and stuff. Like, what has that been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's very surreal. I just like, I'm someone who just like tries to take it all in. So just like not take everything for granted and realize like how like talented I really am. And it's really been a blessing. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty cool.
Do you have any siblings?
I have an older sister, yeah.
Does she humble you consistently and is like, you kind of sucks, don't get full of yourself? Because I know for a fact, if I was as good as you, I don't know if Christina, I don't know if you're listening, and David, you might be, but they would both sit there and be like, hey, you still suck, stop. Like, just to like keep me from getting my head too big.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those moments, but she's been just like super supportive. So awesome. Yeah, it's been awesome to have her as an older sister.
So I'm I'm trying to put myself in the mind frame of being a high school junior. And what was it like having the expectations and the self-belief that breaking 4 minutes was a definite possibility coming into your senior year? Because you got close last year. So at what point did you realize, like, this is really something that I can do? Because I'm trying to put myself back in my high school mind frame, or, I mean, at any mind frame in my life, and what that must be like, that is a actual goal that can come true. And at such a young age, like, what was that whole process and that realization like? And then that pressure of having to actually do that and show up and compete and make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of my junior year, I hit a workout before nationals that kind of indicated to me where I was at, and I mean, I thought I was kind of like closer to that like lower 4:0 minute mark. So going into the senior year, it was just kind of like, I mean, you kind of got to wait a little bit because you got to run cross country, but it's definitely on the back of the mind. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just a bunch of strength training, and then going into like indoor when I ran 4:02, that was when the real realization was like, wow, like I'm really close to this, like some better conditions and maybe like just like a bit different race strategy, and it's definitely possible.
So, it's crazy to think that once you get that close, like 4:02 had to like kind of like felt great because you're there, but kind of hurt because it's like, man, I'm right there, right? But you're kind of coming in like as you're like blossoming into a great runner. You're kind of blessed to be in a great time in Pennsylvania running because you didn't have to go to national meets to get national caliber races, right? Like there is a good handful of guys, like obviously you're sub-4 now, but there's a good handful of guys 4:05 and below. So you had guys to compete with all the time as you were getting closer at state level. How much do you attribute like your competition that you had over in Pennsylvania that helped you to continue to progress? And then when you got to national meets, it was looking around like, well, this is just another state meet for me. Like I'm competing against this caliber of guy all the time anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of crazy to think about it because at my state meet, my own district ended up going 1 through 5 at the state meet in the 1600. So like I had been racing those guys for like weeks now, like at dual meets and stuff. And I don't know, we just had 5 guys go like 4:0 or like under 4:10, and like that was pretty crazy. And even like last year or my junior year at the state meet, I got second, and it was to a guy that was also in my district that was also a junior. So it was like, it's just crazy that like that's the level of talent that's in like my district alone in Pennsylvania, and then the entire state. It's like you just like want to try to be the best, and so does everyone else. So it kind of just like pushes you to get that much faster.
See
so really quick, Dave, I just want to follow up. As much as you're competing against those guys, was there also a little bit of pride as you guys went 1 through 5? And it was just like, because I know like, in Jersey we have groups and then we meet of champions. Like there's certainly a little bit of pride if like you're there with someone from your group and you guys do something great, because it's like, you want to show that like, and there's, it's the size of schools that we split ourselves up to. So it's like, it's kind of cool when like you can get on there with your group. Was there a pride for you guys? As like you said, you've been competing now for years against each other, right? Like, and now there's 5 of you that are there at the pinnacle. Like, was that just pretty cool to be able to do that as a group? And kind of, was that like a fun feeling there for you 5?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously once we step on the line, it's very competitive and we want to win.
Absolutely.
But like kind of like you said, like all 5 of us are pretty good friends, and like even afterwards we got a picture together, and it's just like super awesome to be able to represent just like our district and where we come from. So yeah, it's definitely like everyone was just like super excited, and yeah, it's awesome.
See, what I think is cool is, back in even like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you had a kid in high school of your caliber, you would have had to run so many pro meets just to have the chance to get under 4. I think it's cool now that you can do these all running against other high school kids. Like we've come so far in the evolution of just high school times that you're getting kids break 4 minutes every year. So it's cool that we can now do these things within within kids in high school running against other high school kids? How do you feel that that's changed over the years? And do you think it's cool that you can run against other kids in high school and you don't have to go and run against pros?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it just kind of like increases the prestige of it. Like, obviously I ran like 357, but I had a pacer there. And then like compared to whenever I ran 357 for the 1600 at my state meet, like, I don't know, it's just a different feeling knowing that you're running against kids that are like your level and they're like able to just like come together and be able to run like these incredible times. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how far the high school scene has come, and I think it's just going to keep getting faster.
Yeah. Now, what I find crazy is, I mean, and rightfully so, you get so much recognition for going sub 4 in high school, and you absolutely should. But I feel like your 831 just goes unnoticed.
And your 834 indoor that you broke Cheserik's record by almost 5 seconds. And I remember watching that race. It wasn't close from the gun. Like, what type of confidence were you feeling in that race where you just gapped and went and you're like, I know no one's going to go out and run 4:15 with me, so I'm just going to go do it. Like, what the, like, I think your 831's impressive. Number 2 all time is incredible. But man, that 834 indoor was freaking sweet to watch. So yeah. What were those 2 races like where like, I got to go do it. Like, the 2 mile to me is almost more impressive.
I think it's more impressive than sub 4. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly have to agree with you there. Like, I don't know. There's something about the 2 mile that like, just like fits me like a lot better than the mile. And obviously
Cheserik's record indoor is insane because who thought that Cheserik he dipped under 840 and everyone's like, well, that's incredible. No one's going to do that. And here you come, was it 6 years later? And it's like, all right, screw you, Cheserik. Really lower in this. Like, that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a pretty crazy race. I can't lie. Like, I don't know, just going into it, I was just like telling myself that I could do it. And like, I kind of had my eyes set on some of those numbers just because I've run 838 on like a 320 meter track earlier in the season. So like, I was like, all right, can definitely do this with the right conditions and just a little bit more of like a championship meet taper. So yeah, that one was just like kind of like a really mentally tough race. Cause it was like, obviously I'm going out there and trying to do it alone. So like, just had to like go out there and be prepared to hurt. And that was a pretty cool race.
So how much did you use the racing lights? How much did they help you?
Racing lights.
They definitely helped because it was like, I mean, they were right there, but like as soon as I had like a pacer for the first 4 laps or first 8 laps, I guess, because it's indoors. But as soon as he stepped off, I tried to gap him because I just like felt like I was racing the lights and I had a gap on the lights, and then with like, I think 400 left, I saw them creep up again. I could see them out of the corner of my eye. So
those lights are fast.
Yeah, it was like I was trying to kick them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely helped.
Yeah, of course it did.
I mean, so I feel like that the 2 mile had to be more difficult in a lot of ways because there's a lot of people going after sub 4 at high school right now. Like, that is a mark. You have a lot of kids running, damn near 4 flat. So I feel like you're going to get a lot more game kids to just like sit there and be like, all right, let's go do this. Let's go, try and run sub 4. What you're trying to do in the 2 mile, I don't think people want to do that. Like, it's not even that they can't. It's they're looking at it going, that's a whole extra mile I have to do that to myself. Like,
I'm good.
What in your mindset makes you want to like go out there and do that? Like, because like I said, to me, that's a freaking awesome feat that you're walking away with 2 of the fastest times, the indoor record and the number 2 all time. Like that's really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to describe that race. Like the 831 was pretty sweet. Like, I don't know. I kind of like thought about maybe trying to break 830 after that 834 indoors, but then wasn't sure if like after I had been running the mile a lot, I was like, I don't know if my training is more suited for the mile right now or 2 mile or where I'm at physically. So going into that race, I kind of just like was like, all right, I'm just going to go for the win and try to be as competitive as possible. And then that kind of mindset ended up leading me to running 831 just because I was trying to run away from the field as fast as possible.
And you certainly did. You certainly did get away from that one. So we're kind of touching on to your season. We kind of went through the memories. Are there any other memories? I think we kind of touched on a few of them, but are there any other memories from your career, pre this amazing season that you want to talk about? Things like, whether team wise or individual you did pre this that you want to talk about that comes to mind that's special to you?
Yeah, I mean, probably honestly might be still like a top 3 memory for me was sophomore year cross country state meet. I wasn't really like in the running to be even like top 5, top 10. I wasn't really talked about that much. I had done well at my district meet, but kind of went under the radar and wasn't really seen as like a threat. And then slowly I started off in like 25th after the mile and then worked my way up into the top pack. And then I ended up finishing 2nd. So, and it was behind my teammate at the time. So it was like going 1-2 at the state meet. And I'm like coming down the straightaway and it's like, I can hear people on the sides like, oh my gosh, like Butler has 1-2 right now at the state meet. And that was probably just like one of the best feelings, even to this day.
That's awesome.
That's always the coolest part. Like we talk about, like a lot of our athletes' favorite memories are either like doing crazy things on relays, and yours right there is just like a team aspect thing, right? You have all this individual success, and one of your coolest memories is not winning, but finishing 2nd as a sophomore. That's such a dope thing. Like you're not even that you beat your teammate, like you finished 2nd, and just the pride of like Butler on your chest going 1-2, like. That is just a cool memory, and I think it's like a cross-country specific thing, right?
Yeah,
because it's definitely a cross-country thing where, you're going for individual spots, but your individual spots count towards that team score. So it's like, get the next kid. Like, that's always the goal. And
of course,
do that at states, and what a progression, right? Starting off like, all right, I'm feeling good. Let me just start picking guys off. It's like, wait a minute. I can do this. Like
the smart way to run a 5K, right?
Yep.
Doesn't always happen. So I want to transition some. I want to talk, as we mentioned, you are going to Notre Dame, Fighting Irish. What was that whole process like, the recruiting process? You can name other schools if you want. You certainly don't have to. That's completely up to you. But what was that process like, and what made you decide that Notre Dame was the right fit for you and for your skills?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely just a lot of like trying to bond with every single coach that I talked to. And kind of going into my junior year, I like kind of wrote down a list of my like top schools, and my top choices were Notre Dame, Stanford, and Wake Forest. So it turned out that my final 3 were also the same schools. So it was kind of just like like trying to figure out which coach would suit me best, and also more importantly, like the team aspect and trying to find guys that I really mesh with. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you want to be with guys who are going to like, you're excited to run with every single day and you're excited to race beside. So that was definitely super important. But then also I was looking at just like the best academic school like that I could get with also the athletics. So like obviously Notre Dame and Stanford, great academic schools, but also super good athletically. So that was probably the most important thing, but it really just came down to like taking those official visits and figuring out like the travel and the campus and how well I fit at each school.
Shout out to Coach Ricardo Santos over at Stanford, former guest. Obviously you chose a great school for you because like you said, athletically, academically, you can't go wrong between, kind of Stanford and Notre Dame. They're both high quality in both. So outside of just like the choices themselves, what were you looking for in schools? You said you were looking for high academics and like mesh, but were there like anything like super specific that kind of like broke the straw on camel's back, and like
location or anything, or?
And kind of like, because I feel like every time we get like our high schoolers to come and give these types of things, it will help future prospective high schoolers, right? To kind of narrow down what we should be looking for.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I live in like Pittsburgh, or like a little north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So
basically Ohio.
Stanford, really close to Ohio. But like, I mean, because of that, I'm only 5 hours away from Notre Dame. So like, I mean, I could literally drive home for a weekend and stay home if I had to, if I got sick or something like that, and drive back and be there for classes. But whenever you look at Stanford, it's like you're a 5-hour plane ride away. Like that's not an easy trip. And just like coming home for break and seeing family and stuff, that was definitely like a decision maker, I guess. And yeah, that was probably one of the more like the biggest like factors in it.
Yeah. And we've heard from almost every high school guest that we've had that it's come down to exactly what you said, how they felt they got along with the current team members, incoming freshmen, and the big thing was the coach. And a lot of them said it's harder now because there's so much turnover that you just hope that the coach that you're going to is still there in a couple of years. And
also, your parents won't like to hear this, but don't come home a lot. Stay there as much as you can. No, and you know what? Not even that with your parents, but it's like more for just like be there, be on campus. I don't think he's going to be able to come home much with his. I agree. He's not. He's not going to. So you're coming in as a absolutely high profile recruit, arguably like one of the highest profile in all the country, right? What has it been like talking to coach, talking to your teammates, and what are the expectations? Because now you're gearing in from, running a 2-mile. You got to get ready for AK 10Ks, right? Like, so what is that conversation like with your coaches? What is, obviously without giving away any major training plans, but what has it kind of been like knowing that, realistically, there's going to be high expectations coming in for you right away in XC, right? So what has it been like talking to your coaches, talking to your senior leaders, your junior leaders and things like that, and trying to like manage expectations and get you to where obviously Notre Dame wants you to be, but where a lot of us running fans are hoping that you could be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought that like whenever I got recruited, like, I'm probably gonna redshirt my freshman year. But I mean, after this season, it's been like I've been talking to coach a lot, and it seems like I'm probably gonna run as long as everything goes according to plan. And I'm definitely super excited about that because I would hate to miss a cross country season just because I don't know, I love it so much, and I love to just get out there and compete. So I feel like that's the most important thing is just trying to be as competitive as possible for the team. And whether it's at like an ACC meet or regionals, it's just about like picking off guys and trying to get as high of a place as possible. Because I'm definitely really looking forward to that aspect of it, because I feel like high school cross country is kind of like, especially the national meets, tailored more to like individual performances. But NCAA cross country is just like mostly about the team, and that's all that really matters. So I'm really looking forward to that like kind of aspect of it.
That's Can awesome. I point out that I absolutely hate that Notre Dame is in the ACC for all their sports? Can we start a petition to get them in the Big Ten? Because they belong in the Big Ten. Like because
when I was at Rutgers, they were in the Big East.
I know, but where they are proximity wise and with the rivalries that they already have with Michigan and stuff. Like,
are you really talking about proximity? We have Stanford's in the Big East and the Big Ten. So
but it's like, but just the rivalry aspect there. Like, anyway, I want to see that, but I don't know. I want to start a petition.
So Drew,
don't ignore me, Dave.
While you were going through this whole process of trying to get sub 4, that's big time pressure. Did you have anybody else who had been through that reach out to you, like maybe like a Gary Martin type who was from your own state, who did it maybe like 1 or 2 years earlier? Not that it's his job to, not that it's his responsibility, but did you have anybody who had gone through that process reach out to you, maybe give you some guidance and, try to talk you through it? Because it's got to be super stressful. That's why, I could not imagine what that whole process was like.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Really, like, I feel like my biggest mentor throughout like my entire high school career has been like my old teammate, CJ Singleton, the one that I finished behind, and he's at Notre Dame currently. So he had run 4:02, I think, in indoor season his senior year, and then came outdoors. He wasn't able to get the job done, and he kind of like talked me through it, and it was kind of just like a matter of believing in myself and knowing that I could actually get it done, and just kind of maintaining that like mental strength throughout the entire season. But I feel like most importantly, he just told me to enjoy the high school season, because you only live it once. And college is fun, but it's definitely different from high school. So the way I looked at the track season and trying to break forward was just like just enjoy the opportunities that you have, because I mean, you're not going to get to run at like a Hoka Festival of Miles ever again. It's just like that atmosphere is something completely different from collegiate running. It's just like super fun, and there's music playing and you're getting cool intros and stuff like that. And then collegiate running is just like go out there and run and try to win. So definitely very different, and it was very important just to try to have as much fun as possible.
And now we know the truth of why he chose Notre Dame, because CJ's there.
But you'll also have like the fun aspect of hanging it over CJ's head whenever you like joke around.
I mean,
like, hey, guess what?
First of all,
I did
it. How amazing is it that
that's really cool?
Two teammates, one one's 402, one one's a 357, the same high school, and now you guys are going to the same college. That's a storybook story, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Was he a big decision for why you went there? Just kind of the comfort of being there with CJ, or was he just an added bonus?
I mean, he was just like kind of an added bonus, but I feel like he was a huge part in getting me recruited at the start. It was kind of like he kind of like sparked that initial interest in the school, and then obviously it's pretty cool to like be able to know like he could like even like drive me to campus like my freshman year, and like he's just there, he's been through it, and he's like from where I'm from, and I already know him, so that was definitely just like a big added bonus.
Yeah, it's so much easier. You can go on training runs and stuff now because he knows what to expect and things like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and something tells me you didn't need CJ to help with the recruiting process.
No, I don't think. No, CJ helped him decide to go to Notre Dame. I think it wasn't. I don't think it was like it was him talking to Drew saying, "Hey, you should come here," probably to get him away from Stanford and Wake and things like that.
I love it, man. What a cool story! Like, I mean, two teammates going to the same college, 402. Woo.
Your coach is spoiled, by the way, over at Butler. I just want to say that. Shout out to coach. We're doing a great job of, I think there's like a misnomer that like when you have extremely talented kids that it just makes your job real easy.
No,
part of the thing is like
harder.
Yeah, I think some of it's harder, right? Because there's a spotlight on you that as a coach you never really want, right? You just want to go do your job and let your kids take all the glory. But then at the same time, you now have to manage high school kids and keeping them grounded and making sure they're doing good workouts and not getting ahead of themselves, like making sure that you're not going out and doing every 6-mile run at like 5:40 pace. It's like, no, take some of these easy, like go 6:30, go 6:45. It's okay. Like that's got to be hard. How much was your relationship with coach important to you in order for all your success of, breaking 4 and going damn near 8:30? Like how much was him really guiding you and kind of, working with him in terms of what you needed to do, what you didn't need to do and things like that?
Yeah, it was super important. Like, I don't know. I feel like my relationship with him just like kept growing and growing. And just as we got to the end of both of our careers, because he's now retired, he went out after I finished my last race. So
it's a hell of a way to do it.
yeah. He had a great career. I mean, I think he was coaching for like 40 some years, I think.
That's
like
it?
Total, yeah, and I mean, he had coached like some pretty crazy athletes, and I just knew that if I just put all my trust in what he was doing and like his plan, I knew it would turn out well. So,
If I had been coaching 40 years and I got to end on that, like that's a no-brainer. I mean, like don't tempt fate. Get out while you can. So, Drew, do you follow the pro sport at all, track and field?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep like updated as best I can.
Do you, which I think is great because I think that's really going to help the sport grow. When I was in high school, not that many people actually knew who anybody was, so that's cool. Second, are there any pros out there that you look up to that you might like think that your approach to racing is like theirs, or that you find that you like their style, or that you like how they race? Are there any athletes out there that you just that kind of inspire you that you look up to?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like 3 that cross my mind. It's probably number 1, Yard Nagoose, just because I mean, Notre Dame alum, and he's doing really well right now, and it's pretty exciting.
And you're definitely going to meet Yard. I know he goes back to South Bend every once in a while, so you'll meet him.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm looking forward to that. And then I feel like next up would probably be Cole Hawker, just because I don't know, the way he races is just like pretty incredible. I don't know. It's tough to
He's very ballsy. He's very ballsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of confidence in himself, and I like it. And then probably third one would be Jake Whiteman, just because
Nice.
I don't know. I've always looked up to Jake Whiteman ever since he pulled off like the 2022 World Championship, like 1500 upset. So
Over Jakob.
yeah, like that was just crazy to watch, and like I feel like ever since that moment I've been a fan. So I've always been.
I gotta say, I am a little surprised at no Jakob and no Kerr, but I love your list. But that's what's great about this sport is that we can talk about this. Is that there's not only 1, 2, or even 3 people, even in the 15. You know, like there's so many there that people like. We love our boy Eric Holt because we've had him on our show. So, and we just think he's a tough guy who's been through a lot of crap, and we're pumped that he's now sponsored. But everyone has their guy that they love, and it's just great to see the fact that the Americans are now on that level.
What I find interesting,
you guys can have like, because I had no Americans that I could really root for that were on that actual level. So it's great that this generation can actually root for American runners that run the events that they run.
What I find interesting is that like we find our favorites in the ones that we run, because it's like interesting that he doesn't mention like that. Drew, you don't mention Grant Fisher. Grant Fisher is like the greatest distance runner of our generation, right? Like 5K record holder, 10K record holder, can drop down and run a fast 3K, 15. Like the guy's a monster, but it's like we kind of stick to our events, right? Like you're a miler. And, you know, who knows what goes on in college, like Notre Dame, like who knows where you're going to get thrown into. You know, coaches always, you know, after you train with them, they figure out like Steve Prefontaine famously was a miler, and Bill Bowerman's like, hey, you're not fast enough. Like he was easily a sub-4 guy competing, and he's just, you're not fast enough. You're going to go run 5K.
Care about the 3 mile.
He didn't care about the 5K, and then boom. So we never know. You're better. Like it's arguably your better race is the 2 mile. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just like, hey, go jump over some barriers and take 200 meters off of it. Let's see what you could do. Like that wouldn't surprise me with your speed as well. If they said
indoor 3K,
steeple or 3K, like it would be fantastic to see.
Well, that's what's great.
You go
at running in college is that there's a lot more opportunities. There's a lot more different events. And then when you get indoors, you got 600, you got 1,000.
Do you guys have steeple in PA?
Only like at national meets. So
okay, same thing in New Jersey. New York has it, but you know I'm in New York, and New York has the 1,200 or something like that. It's shorter. It's not, but it's a taste of it. So have you raced against pros yet? Have you gone to meets where you've raced against any pros?
I've been to meets with pros. Like indoor Grand Prix was like probably the closest I've ever gotten, just like being there with them. But I've never actually raced against pros.
Because I know there's a lot of high schoolers that kind of rub elbows with pros now. Like if they're in those big meets, they'll be in like the seeded heats against. And we had Emma Zawatsky on the show. Emma ran a few races against pros, but it's like, so what are your pro aspirations? I know it's like really hard to look at now. You still got 4 years ahead of you. You know, I'm hoping that someone is smart enough to give you and some of your teammates NIL deals because you absolutely deserve it. And I think like, you know, I was talking to someone today and it's like, why don't we have signature shoes for our athletes? That's all we freaking need. Like, why don't we have shoes and spikes? But it's like, what are your aspirations? Are you looking to progress to the level of being a pro? Because, I mean, we talk to pros. And unless you are Yara Nagoose, unless you are Noah Lyles, Sydney McLaughlin-Lavone, there's not much money there. So what are your aspirations when you go into that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to just like test my luck with going pro. I mean, I truly just like love the sport and love the grind of it, I guess. So yeah, definitely thinking about going pro one day, and even maybe trying to test out the roads one day. Maybe go up to the marathon and see what kind of things there are there. So we'll see, but I mean that's a long way down the road, like you said. So a lot of things need to be done, but yeah.
Let's worry about college first, right?
Yeah.
And coach didn't hear that marathon thing. That's one of the worst things. Coach do not want to hear the M word
until he's done with
run a race in college.
So keep your options open, man.
So outside of that, so what are your expectations coming into your freshman year? Are you, after you had like such a huge year, a lot of, you know, national like press and things like that, obviously talking to like Flow Track, Sidious Mag, all that type of stuff. Like, what are your expectations now coming in as a freshman? Are you looking to just grind it out and kind of figure out college? Because like there is a huge difference where everyone you meet, especially at Notre Dame and the level you're going to be at, there's national champions. There's absolute state champions. Everyone there was a champion in some way, somewhere, and they're all now grown-ass men. It's not a bunch of like kids you're running against. Like you're running against 20-year-olds, guys with man strength that have like fully developed. So,
well, now with COVID, people are in their like 9th year.
Yes, you have like some 30-year-olds racing now, but it's like, so what are your expectations coming in now as you're entering into a world that are like, a bunch of these guys are future pros, future Olympians you're competing against?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like the biggest goal I have is just stay healthy. Like it's going to be a huge environment change, and I'm going to try to get used to dorm life and eating not what mom's cooking for dinner and just like all that stuff. So it's
learn to cook. Learn to cook. I'll tell you right now, learn it, because you will sit there and you'll be able to go to some of the seniors' houses or whatever. And if you could cook Sunday dinner, number one, they'll love you. No, because everyone loves the guys that can cook. And number two, you'll be happy you don't like to eat crappy cafeteria food and you can make some of mom's cooking. I'm telling you right now, it's a great thing. Learn to cook.
Yeah, I'm definitely working on it already, but it's not quite where I want it to be. So
I always thought that the hardest year of running for any distance runner is freshman year of XC, because it's double in some races, and it's just a different mind frame, and you are going against, like Alex said, grown men who are doing this for maybe their 3rd, 4th, 5th, some maybe even their 6th year. So just talented, but definitely not experienced. Not that you shouldn't have amazing expectations, because a person of your caliber absolutely should, but just go in and just don't lose sight of the fact that it's a sport and it's fun.
Definitely, yeah, I definitely.
So on the academic side, what are you looking to major in?
I'm going to be majoring in aerospace engineering, or possibly
Christmas.
Yeah, so that's like it's definitely going to be tough, but also
he's not basket weaving, no.
Yeah.
So what we're going to have is we're going to have the first ever pro guy running sub 350 in the mile that's about to go work for like Blue Origin or SpaceX. Like he has like, you're going to be like remotely working in the middle of like the Olympic trials. It's like, hold on one second, I got to finish this spec. Elon's on my ass. Like that's going to be awesome. So
yeah,
what are you gearing up for with that though? Because that is a demanding major, and you're now at a demanding school with academic,
a demanding sport
every which way. So how are you mentally gearing up for that?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been like pretty focused on academics, like even throughout high school. So it's pretty important to me. So I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, that's not an easy major, but I feel like it also kind of like keeps me on track as well. Just like knowing that I have to get my schoolwork done and get to bed and also maintain training. So it's a lot, but it keeps me on my toes.
Well, so advice that
obviously you are. I'm sorry.
Oh, real quick. Advice that I never follow myself. Take advantage of your student athlete space where you could be on your own studying, your own computer labs and things like that. Take advantage of free tutors. I know most schools for athletes offer free tutors. Use them. And your athletic academic advisor. They're your best friend. Those 3 things. Use those and it'll help you academically. Now, I never used it. I was an idiot at Marist. I think I used it a few times. But use it. If you're struggling, go get that free tutor. Everyone else has to pay for it. So
yeah,
do it up.
Will do.
Dave, sorry I cut you off.
Nah, I don't even remember what I was going to say. So
I suck. I'm sorry.
No.
So I want to jump into our final thing that we ask everyone, and I love, all the answers. I think you're going to give a good one since now I know that you're a borderline genius. But no, I'm just kidding. If you had the ability to change this sport in one way, because one of our main goals of this channel, of this show, is to try and get the sport more popular to casual fans so that in 3 to 4 years, when you're thinking of going pro, there's a league for you to join. There's not just scraping by, hoping to win prize money and maybe getting to a rank to enter into some gold and platinum meets. Like, our goal is to help facilitate leagues. Now we have Michael Johnson's league coming up. I mentioned Kirk Berridge. There's a track star league that's in development. We have things coming down the pipes, it seems. But if you could change something that would make this sport more appealing to casual fans and that will get pros that are working day jobs in order to train to get the pros paid good money so that they could just focus on being athletes, what would you change?
I feel like it's just like the biggest thing is like access to watching the races, like having to pay like a ridiculous amount of money like every month just to watch like a specific like race is kind of crazy. Like, and like with the Olympic trials, like there was like, I think I heard like 5 million viewers the one night or something.
Yeah, it was great. No,
so,
it was really good. It was good.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if they can somehow manage to just like keep the viewership up on even just like if there's like a league, like making sure that people are watching that league and kind of just like getting it like publicized so that just like people at home are able to watch it for free or like just like on the TV or whatever. So yeah.
And that's going to that's going to be hard because Diamond League's moving to Flow Track, and that's $30 every month. And I love Flow Track. It does a phenomenal job. One, I don't know if they're ready to cover meets at that level, and two, are people going to spend $30? I don't know.
And here's the thing too, and FlowTrack's going to be mad at me for this. Nobody wants to watch another sport if they're going for one. If I'm going for track, if I'm going for wrestling, I don't want to pay $30 to see gymnastics. I'm sorry, I'm not interested in it. And that's what you get when you pay the $30. You get the whole array of Flow sports, which if I'm interested in 16 sports, I'll love that. But most of the time I'm not. So they need to figure out an a la carte feature where it's like, hey, you want to watch track? $10 a month, $1 or $2 for every single thing you add on. And then if you want the suite, I feel like they would get a ton more viewership because I'd pay $10 a month if I could just go watch them track. That would be awesome. The other thing I want to ask you, if there were some other leagues and if say they were, streaming's big, like we're on YouTube and everything, say there was a league and they're just like, hey, we're streaming free on X, Twitch, and YouTube. Would you look for that and watch that? Because your generation watches a ton of YouTube and things like that. Would that be something you might be like, oh shoot, whatever race is on YouTube, let's throw it on streaming? Would that be something you and your friends who like track would do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always I know a lot of people who are just trying to watch some more track and field. So if it's on something as accessible as my phone, I can just pull it up on YouTube. I mean, like you said, that's definitely the main one. So if you could just pull it up on YouTube, definitely people would be watching it a lot.
Well, I mean, if you look at the New Balance meet for indoor and outdoors, that was all on YouTube on its own channel, and it did phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I just think, like you said, access and also promotion, right? We have to hunt down meets.
Listen,
and there's some big meets that go on, and we have no idea where the hell they are.
I didn't say it earlier, but I will say, if you haven't watched it yet, watch the documentary Sprint on Netflix. Really good. 6 parts. I think I watched it in like 8 hours. But,
you're a junkie.
But I mean, it really gets into Noah Lyles versus Marcel Jacobson, Fred Curley. It ends at the Worlds last year, but season 2 is coming out, and that's going to go through the Olympics this year. But it really gets in personal, talks about Curry and things it's really good, and it gets into some of the crap talking that they have with each other.
I can't wait till we have distance, and
they are doing a Jakob Ingebrigtsen documentary too.
I want one that's called Distance with new phenom on the team, Notre Dame, now sophomore, blazing the track, NXC, Drew Griffith, living up to his expectation. We follow him and 4 other athletes in Distance.
Yep.
Boom. There we go. But Drew, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was lots of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This has been awesome. So,
hey man, when you're getting ready for the 2028 Olympics, we'll definitely have you back on.
Hell yeah, we'll definitely.
All right, that sounds good.
So once again, he is Drew Griffith. He's incoming Notre Dame freshman runner and Butler High School alum, Butler, Pennsylvania over there.
Sub 4 minute high school miler.
Sub 4 minute high school miler, 8:31 2 miler. What was your 5K PR?
For cross country, it was 14:21.
Jesus Christmas. So yeah, just really fast guy. So really, enjoyed having him on. If you want to follow him on X, he's at DGriffith914 up there on the screen. Follow him on Instagram at Drew_Griffith. Follow us on X at Talking in Ovals. Instagram also Talking in Ovals. You can find us everywhere. We appreciate everybody that was watching. I want to give a shout out and love. I don't know if you're still watching. Ian said, love the live version. We love you, Ian. You're the man. Former guest, Penn State alum there. So we're, always pumped to see you in there. Manchester alum as well. Boo, go Manchester. We love you guys. But overall, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, listening, all that good stuff. We will be back next week with another fun episode. It's going to be tough to top this one because we've talked to gold medalists. But it's always fun talking to people currently doing it in the now at the top of the game. And
now that whose future is not even written yet.
God. Hey, listen, when you're a millionaire and we're still making nothing, just getting free guests and things like that, we expect no charge access to you because we had you on a show once. I don't know why I demand that. But once again, we appreciate everyone.
Don't agree to anything.
Don't agree to anything in writing. Have your lawyer talk to us. Anyway, we appreciate everyone. We're talking to Novels.